ਡਾਕਟਰ ਪੁਸ਼ਪਿੰਦਰ ਸਿਆਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਹਨ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਆਫ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਐਂਡ ਕਲਚਰਲ ਸਟੱਡੀਜ਼ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ। PhD ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੈਂਕੈਸਟਰ UK ਤੋਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜਾ ਯੂਜ਼ਫੁਲ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਸਿੱਧ ਲੇਖਕ ਗੁਰਦਿਆਲ ਸਿੰਘ, ਆਤਮਜੀਤ ਹਰੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਵਲ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਟਕ ਹਨ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ 'ਚ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰਚਨਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਾਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡਾ ਪਿੜ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਜਲਦੀ ਓਰੀਐਂਟ ਬਲੈਕ ਸਵੈਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ 100 Years of ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਫਿਕਸ਼ਨ। ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲਿਖਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਜੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਯੂਨੀਕਨੈਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਪਾਵਰ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਪ੍ਰੈਜੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਪੁਸ਼ਪਿੰਦਰ ਸਿਆਲ।
Respected Chairperson, organizers, friends, Sat Sri Akal. My paper is a humble attempt to explore some of the aspects of Guru Nanak Ji's teachings and thought with reference to Asa Di War. I don't pretend to give any kind of comprehensive or any final version or interpretation. We have to remember the saying of Guru Nanak Ji himself, particularly in today's context when we have so many vyakhyas and so many interpretations. Gyan na galli tundiye, kasna karra sar. So Guruji is very much aware that language has its limitations, and kathana or verbal expression is a gross element, and it is a material substance, whereas knowledge or gyan is sukham and subtle, fine in its very nature. Human language has form, it is infinite, it is finite, as opposed to the formless nirakar that it tries to describe. Thus Guru Nanak Ji uses music as the language of the infinite, and humans aspire to realizing this music, to grasp that sense of the infinite in our being. In verbal terms, the materiality of the word in describing many names and forms is subsumed within the essence of all names and forms, that is the true name, Satnam, which contains the concrete reality of all forms. So one observation to be made at the very beginning. One observation to be made in the very beginning is that Guru Nanak Ji's approach to the great questions of life is experimental, is experiential and not speculative, process oriented. So it is the stages of this process that we find traced in Asa Di War. It is a path of continual action in the discovery of the self. So though all these matters concern the philosophers, epistemological, existential, ethical, all these are within the range of his philosophy. The approach is one which is not only open to understanding by the common person, but also realized as actual rather than mystical. It is actionable in the real world. And if we look at the word darshan, that is the word for philosophy, but in the Guru's teachings, we find the word Guru Darshan. It is used in a specially qualified sense, that it is not looking at the Guru da darshan karna, lekin Guru Darshan, that is to see the world as the Guru sees it. Jis tarah da darshan Guru da hai, us tarike da darshan karna. To see the world as the Guru sees it and guides us to see it. So I'm quoting Pashora Singh here that in the Guru's darshan, quote, mystical experience encompasses transcendental reality without snapping its ties with empirical reality. This overcomes the binaries of religious, secular belief practice, absolute, relative. These binaries are overcome because the ties with empirical reality, the real world, are not snapped. Divine reality is both transcendent and immanent, personal and impersonal, and both having and not having attributes. The one is the absolute truth, which is manifest in and guides the relative truth, in the real world, pertaining to individual actions and social life, while the relative truth, when understood and acted upon, guides us in the knowledge of the absolute. So relative truth will help us to understand the absolute. The absolute truth will also be seen as manifest in the relative. So here I found that this thinking has a lot in common with other many streams of thought in the traditions of the saints and thinkers of India. In listening to the contemporary Buddhist philosophers like Dalai Lama, Tai Sutupa, and others whom I have had a chance to listen to and understand from, and also the earlier traditions of Tirthankaras and others, and also with the Western philosophers. But there are some crucial differences also. So I'm just referring to Professor Pritam Singh saying that what is unique about Sikhism? What is unique about Sikhism would be the different way in which the material world is seen in relation to the absolute. That is, how the material world is to be used, how is to be understood. जद असी कोई पदार्थ यूज़ करने हैं, असी मटीरियल नू यूज़ करना है, ओनू असी उस तरह यूज़ कर रहे हैं कि ओनू समझ के यूज़ कर रहे हैं कि इहदी मटीरियलिटी की है. What is the nature of this material? What is the nature of the material things in the world? So इस चीज़ नू एक फिर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नज़रिए दी हो जाती है कि इहदे विच जो है कि एपिस्टीम असी मानते हैं कि एक यूनिट ऑफ नॉलेज है. Now, episteme ki hunda hai, in the Western philosophy, it is one unit of knowledge, that is episteme. But as we see it in Guru Nanak's philosophy, it is episteme is experiential. It is a process of grasping the fundamental truths from many different angles. So this is a kind of very different way of understanding what is the knowledge, what is knowing. What is it to know something? How is it that something is known? So this is man, the concept of man. And the concept of man is that the man which has the ability to grasp and to know objects, but as a subtle entity, it knows itself also. So that is the expanded idea of man. So in many of the compositions that we find constituting Asadivar, there are many deliberations on truth in all of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's verses, in Sri Rag, other parts of Guru Granth Sahib also. But in Asadivar, the deliberation starts very, very systematically. If we see that it starts from Bismad and from Balihari Kudrat Vasya, the truth that lives within nature. So it starts from that idea of truth, from that understanding and knowledge of truth, and which is prevalent everywhere. And then Kudrat Dise, Kudrat Sune, Kudrat Pau Suksar. So from this expanded notion of Kudrat, which we experience in a state of Bismad. Again, Bismad cannot be translated as wonder. It cannot be translated as an emotion. It is a state of being, a process of continuously being in Bismad. So I must say that many of the concepts are not directly translatable into English, and we cannot use the words and the categories from English to completely convey that. That is also the case with concept of home, because home also we can't translate as ego. And ego is not, this Freudian sense or any other kind of understanding of ego that we have in English or through English, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives very many different levels of understanding of home. So I'll just come to that. So then in the verses of Asadivar, we find this thing is actually practically seen in the way the verses are composed, the structure of Asadivar itself. Because in the structure of the stanzas and the pauris, the absolute considerations and the relative considerations of the world, these truths are presented side by side alternately. It is a clear sign that both are related and both flow into each other. Each affects in each other in the entire process. So process begins with the truth of creation itself. It begins with creation itself. And then the universe, the vast universe, the Vedanta, it celebrates the Vedanta. And then it celebrates the truth of existence in every form. And every stanza and pauri in Asadivar contains some further definition and elaboration of the truth. Stanza 2, Sache Tere Khand, Sache Brahmand, begins in the duality, Khand, Brahmand, but it is a duality which helps us in understanding the immanent one, which prevails everywhere. Then we have all the forms, wishes, thoughts, signs, names, actions. These are all forms of the same. Hukam and Nyay run through this. Likhe name taram bahalya. Likhnave taram bahalya in Pauri 2. Then this is the establishment of the law. Establishment of the law of the universe. And in this establishment, all falsities are taken out and only truth prevails. Pao is the law that holds together the universal order in nature and in human life, though there is innumerable manifestation in all levels. Vadhyai is this vastness, and that is why, because it is immanent in the whole world. The second Guru also, in understanding this, says, "E jag sache ki hai kothri, sach ki hai kothri, sache ka vichwas." So this is the expression of immanence of truth in the world. And then, of course, we have many of the descriptions of, for instance, delusion. Delusion is a lack of distinction between appearance and reality. This is what prevents the self from the consciousness of the truth. In Pauri 4, one very important word that Guruji uses again and again in many of the Pauris is bhujya. Now, what is bhujya? Bhujya is not guessing. Guess karna. Bhujna. Not in that ordinary sense of the word. Bhujya is different from the word understanding or finding or guessing, but it can only be described perhaps as a divination. Bhujna, divination, to divine something, that is a deeper working of intuitive capacities, which involves what? Jigyasa, or the urge to know, and it involves the acceptance of hukam by looking within, and also the Shabad. And the Shabad dispels the illusion, and in the emptiness of all thought of a separateness of existence, Satgur miliye sach paya, jin vichon aap gvaya, jin sacho sach bujaya. And this as the divine utterance or the divination of that truth. Again, we know that's going to be very different from just the rationality. But there is a lot of rationality in it also. There is a lot of reason in it also. I must say that in discovering this, I've also found that there is a lot of commonality between the thinking of the German philosopher Immanuel Kant and the thinking that we find in Asadivar of the categorical imperative, the moral imperative, which pervades everything. So that when we look at the moral, doing something, moral action, then moral action is not, oh, I don't want to do this, but I have to do it because it is my duty. But then that won't be a moral action. That won't be a moral action. It would be where we understand that this morally obligatory as the law of nature, the natural law, is also the moral law. So that kind of a combination, that kind of a connection, that is the real imperative. Then, of course, there is a lot of discussion of karm sacha nishan and other verbal actions. So I've mentioned bhujaya. Then he says, kendene chitlaya, sache syo chitlaya. And this kind of deliberation. So little bit on home, that home also is seen at so many different levels. Home is the state of being itself, because all being is hona, and all processes are projections of it. Home is the truth of the self. It can be limiting and it can be liberating. Home dhira grog hai, daru bhi ismai. In what sense? Because there is one level, it is limited. At one level, it can be the individual ego, but then it is also the base of being and of consciousness. That is that ego at a superficial level or at a gross level is a manifestation of a mind, and this solidifies into an identity which we consider as home. But then at a subtle level, ego is consciousness itself. Ego is awareness itself. Without that awareness, there is no knowing. So that is the sense in which daru bhi ismai. Daru bhi ismai. Because there is some some truth in that being itself, which is thinking about things, which is aware about things, which is the consciousness which is operating. And that is also one level of home. Without it, then there would be nothing. And then we have the santok, concept of santok. Now, sev kiti santokhi jin sacho sach tihaya. Again, tihaya. So there are many of such, bhujaya, tihaya, chitalaya, and we have other verbal actions which are described. That is tihaya, kamaya. These tell us of what is the process going on. Process keda chal raha hai. And in this then we also have the concept of purity, sach, such and kud. So such being the absolute, and such being the notion of purity, and kud being the impure and the false. False is impure. So by very virtue, something which is not truthful will also be impure. So that connection is to be seen. And then we have santok. Now, santok is not only patience. Santok is also forbearance, care, moderation. And so santok is what? Tempers home. Home and santok will go side by side. Santok will temper the home. And it will bring in the moderation. So thus we have, we have the sev kiti santokhi, jin sacho sev kiti santokhi, jin sacho sach tihaya, unni mande pair na rakhiye, jin sukrit dharm kumaya, an pani thoda khaya. So the santok which is there, which will take us out of that restricted, limited sense of self towards that which is expanded. Vishal, Vedanta wal leke jayega. So then, so there is a lot of discussion on kud, of course. There is a lot of discussion on how the impurities can be seen. One final thing, and that is the very crucial Pauri 11, where Guruji explains the conditionality, conditionality of knowing the truth. Sachta par janiye je hirday sacha hoye. Kood kimal utre tan kare acha hoye. That is that I've translated as know thou the truths when the heart is pure and the impure is washed away from within. Sachta par janiye ya sach tare pyar. Now sun man harshiye ta paye mokh dwar. Fundamental concept of love, love and truth, So that is not that love, that truth is something distant and vague and impersonal, but it emanates, it comes from love. And then sachta par janiye ja jugat jane jiyo, pat kaya sadke vich deh karta bhi ho. And then very crucial, sachta par janiye ja sikh sachi le. Daya jane ji ki kich pun dan kare. Now pun dan is not just in the material sense, but it is, I've translated as, know thou the truths. When the true teaching is understood, the heart is full of compassion and is giving to all. That is the punnadan, So I will try to conclude here with one final remark, which is on Atam Tirath kare nivas, because Sachita par janiye Atam Tirath kare nivas. So that is the Tirath, Atam Tirath. And the Atam Tirath is the goal, the discovery of the self. And many other concepts and precepts which constitute Guru Nanak Dev Ji's concept of truth. Now that it's working. Hanji. So to conclude it, Hanji. So this summarizes, so I would conclude it that the key principles that are relevant for human actions are sanjam and santok, and knowledge of right practice, which is jugat. Daya as compassion is emphasized many times as essential. There's nothing without daya. The verbal actions emphasized again and again are a guide to the right way. Bhujaya, chitlaya, tyaya, kamaya. But it is also important to remember that Guru Nanak Ji's tone is never condemnatory. It's never judgmental or authoritative. it is like an assurance to all human beings that it is possible to live, for each one to live with the bliss and contentment in our hearts. In a gentle voice, it is a persuasive logic, he says. जे कीता पाया अपना ते काल बुरी क्यों कालिए मंदा बोलना कि चीज जे लंबी नजर निहालिए. That is, why do bad actions when you know that you will get back only what you have given? Why choose the narrow and limited thought when you can have a greater far-sighted view? Irrefutable logic. Irrefutable logic. This is what reason tells us. Why choose that other way when there can be something so much better? Right? So, as to conclude, Guru Nanak's thought encompasses and integrates both the absolute and the relative as the playing out of the same essential principle to formulate this comprehensive philosophical vision. And while there are similarities with Buddhist and Vedantic thought, Guru Nanak's philosophy has a concrete application for the present times, where truth and untruth are confused in our political and social lives. And the ethical imperatives we might think are not practical in the normal world, in the ordinary world. And we might use that as an excuse to put up with all kinds of falsities, wrongdoing and pretenses by simply saying, oh, these are expedients, this is necessary, karna hi hai. But if we are concerned with the question, what is right? Guru Nanak gives us the answers not in a theoretical form, but in actions. Discard rituals and actions that induce impurities, dwell on the name, cultivate the qualities inherent in the name. From itself, the grace will emanate. Grace emanates from the name itself as the repository of bliss, and it fulfills the deepest yearning of our real natures. Our real nature takes us to that. Our most vital concerns, what is our true self, which is our true home. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Syal. We apologize that the PowerPoint presentation didn't work. Her computer software somehow didn't connect.